Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final episode of Season 2 of this F1 24 Driver Career Mode, where we drive for RB. If you did miss the last episode, it was Lando Norris who claimed victory in Brazil, but it was a bit too late because, if you do recall from a previous episode, Max Verstappen has sealed the deal. He has become a four-time world champion, so unfortunately the win from Lando Norris has come a bit late. But Verstappen, he will take a P2, and Alonso also got up on the podium as well. For myself, just things did not go right at all, from mechanical failures to damaged cars, and it was just not meant to be, and I definitely made plenty of mistakes on my part to add to it. So it was a P15 for ourselves. Max Verstappen, he will obviously be leading the Drivers' Championship heading into the final race of the season by 61 points. Lando Norris sits P2 and Leclerc P3. I dropped down the P7 1 point behind Sergio Perez, our career-defining rivalry. Ricciardo sits P15, only 6 points behind Pierre Gasly. And Red Bull, they lead the Constructors' Championship by 100 points to McLaren. Ferrari sit third, and RB, we are P6 currently, 22 points behind Mercedes, so we're going to be hoping to try and swing the points around the other way in this final race. And we're going to jump to the chassis, where we find ourselves with a minor brakes upgrade, going to standard development this, as it is already at a 30% failure rate, and if I rush it, it's going to be at 55%, so I'm just going to do a standard development and it'll get in before the final race. And for the R&D, for the first time this season and the last race of the season, Red Bull are not the fastest car on the grid. McLaren going to the final race weekend of the season as the fastest, but the top five are pretty much on equal performance, which includes Aston Martin, Red Bull, Sauber, and RB, and Ferrari and Mercedes finally find some more pace, with the bottom three teams being Alpine, Williams, and Haas. As let's go straight into qualifying.
Welcome along, everybody. It's the fastest day of the week, qualifying Saturday, and we're here in Abu Dhabi.
We are heading into our final qualifying session of the season, so let's try and make it be a pretty good one. This is one of those tracks I somewhat struggle with a little bit, so hopefully we can pull something out the bag here and get a decent qualifying position for tomorrow's Grand Prix. We start off the bat with a P7, but you'll see that we very quickly drop down the field, dropping all the way down the P16, and we miss the apex at the final corner there, and so we lose a bit of that extra time that we did gain, and that dropped us back. Well, we didn't actually promote us anywhere. We're now P14 after our third flying lap, but we need to go again, so we've got one more chance of this, and we run wide heading back down the hill, and we've got some floor damage now, and so for the rest of the lap, which is going to be majority of it, we're going to be wounded for the final lap here to try and get ourselves into Q2. So we'll have to see what we can do. Coming to the line, it's going to be a 2.5 improvement. And is that going to be Q2 for ourselves? It is not. It is not. We've been knocked out in qualifying one here, and it is Charles Leclerc fastest in qualifying one by a tenth to Max Verstappen. There's Piastri in third, 2 tenths behind. Ricciardo P13, 7 tenths behind, and knocked out here today. Myself by just over a tenth, followed by Zhou Guanyu, Valtteri Bottas, Nico Hülkenberg, and Logan Sargent.
Welcome to the Yas Marina circuit for the finale of another thrilling Formula One season. It's been a breathtaking year, and we end it at a track that's been the scene of many glories and heartbreaks over its history. It's time to end the season in style. It's time for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The Yas Marina circuit is made up of 3.28 miles of track, featuring 16 corners with 2 very long straights. DRS zones going into the heavy braking zones of both turn 5 and turn 7 offer plenty of potential for overtaking. The circuit comes with its fair share of tricky corners, which will certainly test a driver's braking management. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, Tsunoda, Perez, Russell, Hamilton, Stroll, Ricciardo, Verstappen, Gasly, Albon, Ocon, Zhou, Bottas, Sargent, Lightning, Hülkenberg, and Carlos Sainz will start from the back of the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Well, it's been a long time since I last worked with you. Good to see you again today. Anthony Davidson. I don't know about you, Ant, but it seems like only a couple of weeks ago we were talking ahead of the first race. Here we are ahead of the last race. This year has just flown by.
Yeah, a lot of races to cover these days in Formula One, Crofty, as you well know, doing them all yourself. But it's the same for the drivers. It comes at you thick and fast, and you've got to pace yourself as well to get to this point in the season. If it has gone your way, it's a great time to just enjoy it. There's nothing that can change in the championship pecking order, of course. If you've won the championship already, go out and enjoy this race and send yourself off through the winter break. If it's been a bit of a year to forget, you can try and take a bit of solace in this Grand Prix, end on a high, and carry that energy into next season.
Back of the grid, not great, I know, but let's just try and use the first lap to push your way up the order.
I like that thinking there, Mark. You just go for dive bombs. That's what we need to do. You may have seen there on the order, we did have to take a penalty for some components. I was starting at the back anyway, so why not to just put myself that tiny little bit further back as well. And you'll see that small strategy adjustment there, bringing the pit stop forward a couple of laps as we wait for 5 red lights. And we are away for the final race here in Season 2. It's a alright start, a little bit of wheel spin in the second phase of our race start here. Can we make any positions here into turn 1? We go down the inside of Logan Sargent, but we're boxed in by Valtteri Bottas there in the Sauber. They're 3 wide up ahead. We make the move on Bottas as he gets a bit boxed in by the 3 wide ahead, and now we can make the run back down the hill. This is where we ruined our qualifying lap in Q1 and in the end got us knocked out. We go for a little look there down the inside of Ocon, but he slams the door shut, and we don't want to get any damage here on the first lap of the Grand Prix, so we tuck into the slipstream of Alex Albon, but our straight line speed is just absolutely nowhere, and so the field pulls away from us. We have to go defensive from Zhou Guan Yu, but we outbrake both Albon and the Alpine of Esteban Ocon. We give him the squeeze on the second part of this chicane, and we'll make the move stick, and we now find ourselves in P13 as further up the field. Lewis Hamilton, he is looking to try and go past his old teammate George Russell around the outside here, and can he make this move stick? Russell's kind of blocked in by our teammate, but no, he cannot make the move done, and so that is just going to be Hamilton now staying in P9, that Max Verstappen into P10, so he has not had a great start to this Grand Prix, and he's going to be looking to get himself further up the field, but remember, he has sealed the deal for the World Championship as Ocon gets ourselves napping there a little bit. I wasn't really expecting him to make a move there this early on into the Grand Prix, but I guess he does want to make some moves on. We follow his slipstream all the way out to the wall, picking up a heap of dust. Alex Albon tried to get in it for a little bit, then making it 3 wide just very briefly. We send it around the outside, which will give us the inside for that second part of the chicane, and we get the move done back on Esteban Ocon, and we remain in P13. Further up the field, Sergio Perez is looking to try and get himself now up onto the podium and take it away from Oscar Piastri. He'll look to go around the outside, give himself the inside here, but he uses a bit too much there of that sausage curb, and so Piastri, he's going to get the better exit, and that'll mean that he stays in P3, Perez in P4, but is he going to be under attack now from Charles Leclerc? We won't know yet, because we'll take a look at Lewis Hamilton as Max Verstappen. He's now making moves. Can he go around the outside of the both of them? Around the outside of Stroll, around the outside of Verstappen. Will he make this move stick? And it looks like he will. They'll continue to go side by side. Hamilton will have to keep it around the outside, but he can't do it. So Max Verstappen now up into P9, and you may have noticed on the timing there, we did lose a position there to Esteban Ocon. That's how he did it, just using some DRS, and the straight line speed that we don't have is just proving to be quite the weakness of ourselves at the moment as Perez goes around the outside. Is he going to be able to make it stick this time on Oscar Piastri? This time he'll still use a bit of the sausage curb there, and once again Piastri is going to get the better exit. So Perez just hasn't learned from his last attempt about the sausage curb there, but this time he is much closer, and so he's going to be able to use the second part of the DRS to get himself around the outside, and that is him now up onto the podium. And back to ourselves here, we've got ourselves our first objective of the Grand Prix. We need to get ourselves ahead of Esteban Ocon, as Mark believes he's kind of the bottleneck here, but we're just too busy trying to pretty much drive in our mirrors here. We've got Albon all over us, and so we're trying to make sure that if we want to get to Ocon, we need to make sure Albon does not get back by us, as Piastri's not wanting to sit in P4 for very long. He wants to be the leader of this train from P3 down, and he'll go around the outside, and this time, unlike Perez, he won't hit that sausage curb there on the inside, and so he's going to be able to stay in P3, you would assume, but with that DRS, Perez is looking very racy, but it looks like he's actually going to be under attack from Charles Leclerc. Leclerc down the inside at the end of the straight here, and is he going to be able to make this move stick on Sergio Perez. He will have to go around the outside. His teammate wasn't able to complete this just a few laps ago, but this time, Leclerc, he will be able to go around the outside. He'll give him the inside here as they go underneath the hotel, and that is going to be him now up into P4. Brilliant move there from the Ferrari, and as you saw, once again, we've dropped back now another position as we weren't able to defend from Alex Albon, and so he will just use the DRS heading down the straight, although we do give him a bit of a fight going around the outside. We sneak it back up the inside and we squeeze him all the way to the wall. He nearly takes out the DRS board there as the squeeze is so much, and we'll continue to squeeze him to try and put him off the racing line. A little bit of contact there and he'll keep the position. I was just trying to pull any strings possible to stay ahead of him, but it wasn't to be, as Charles Leclerc, he now wants this podium. He'll go around the outside. Piastri is doing very well so far to be able to defend his positions going into this chicane, but unfortunately Leclerc just looks to be too strong, and he'll make the move stick through the chicane. But there is this second part of the straight after the chicane. Is he going to be able to defend from Piastri? He goes to the outside, and is he going to pull off this move? We'll have to wait and see. He is really right there, right alongside them, and this time he'll have the inside. So is Leclerc able to keep it around the outside? No, he can't. This time he pulls in behind Oscar Piastri, and he will have to settle for P4 as it stands at the moment, but he is not waiting for too long. We go to the nose cam as he looks to go around the outside of Piastri. Is he going to be able to make this one stick? He doesn't use the sausage curb, so he'll have a good exit here, and he will keep the position ahead of Piastri as we take a look here at Stroll, and he goes for a spin under the hotel. Gasly has to take avoiding action. We're tucked up behind Alex Albon, and there he is to our left. And so that was a very much a heart-in-mouth moment as we see there on the mini-map. He's still stationary there, so could this possibly bring out a safety car if he's stationary for too long? We'll have to wait and see. You would think it would have been called by now, but we are unfortunately unable to overtake Ocon as we were just too busy trying to deal with Albon as Bottas tries to sneak it up the inside at turn 1, but we close the door on him, so our first objective is failed of the Grand Prix. Piastri, though, he is looking to try and stay in P3. Whatever it is, the front of this train looks like it wants to, that it is the place to be if you are the AI here, and Leclerc will get the position away from Oscar Piastri, but Sergio Perez tucked in behind Piastri. He doesn't have any DRS. Perez does, though, so he'll go to the inside of Oscar Piastri. Could Piastri possibly now go down as far as P5? Perez will have to keep it around the outside. Is he going to be able to do it? No, he can't. Piastri will keep P4 for the moment. Bottas, though, he has been able to get by us, and just the straight line speed deficit that there is just absolutely insane. There's just no way I can do anything on the straights. We'll do an auto check here after the first 10 laps of racing has been completed. Norris leads the way just by Fernando Alonso, and Leclerc rounding out the podium. Then it's Piastri, Perez, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Russell, Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton rounding out that train and rounding out the points. Then it's the two Alpines of Ocon and Gasly. Then it's Bottas, Albon, myself in P15, Logan Sargent, Carlos Sainz, the two Hasses of Zhou and Nico Hulkenberg. And then it's Stroll after his mistake at the tail of the field, 6 seconds away from the two Hasses. And we would now head into the pit lane for our one and only pit stop there. A little bit of a pinch on the front tyres there as we lock it up coming into that very sharp right-hand corner to enter the pit lane. So very lucky we did not run wide and miss the entrance, or as then, one, we would have lost a massive amount of time, but then also go around and do another lap on these tyres, which honestly are feeling it. They were feeling quite bad towards the end of that stint. So now we're onto some fresh hard tyres, so hopefully we can try and get ourselves a little bit of an undercut going here as we jump on board to Piastri, and he's making a move on Charles Leclerc here. Is he going to be able to make this one stick? It looks like he will, and we go back to ourselves now, and we've got our next objective, and we need to average out how much ERS we're using. We've got quite a lot saved up at the moment, as I kind of want to just focus on doing this undercut here and see where we end up, and then use the ERS for some battling. As now the leaders, they're in. Both Norris and Alonso come into the lane for their pit stop. They were on the medium compound tyres, so I'm going to safely assume they're both going to jump onto the hard compound tyres, as McLaren there and Aston Martin, they're right next to each other in the pit lane, so it's really a battle of the pit stops. The hard tyres go onto Lando's car now, and he'll pull out of his box, and Alonso is right there. We have got ourselves a battle for the lead as Alonso uses the DRS. He pulls out of the slipstream, and he under the brakes, he will take the theoretical lead of the Grand Prix, as everyone in front of them is yet to make a pitch stop. So Alonso in P7, but realistically is the leader of the Grand Prix. You can see there now, we have made a mistake coming into the hairpin, a little bit of contact there from Pierre Gasly, and so that's going to be a little bit of damage now to our underfloor there, and we're now running a slightly wounded car, which is not going to help, but luckily it's not major damage. Gasly, he'll go through with the DRS, and the straight line speed is just absolutely unreal from everyone around here. I've definitely messed up something on the setup with our wing angles here for this Grand Prix. We managed to defend from Bottas to not lose 2 positions, but we go back to the front of the Grand Prix. Lando Norris wants to take this race win away. They are now both 1 and 2 on the road as well. The rest of the field has come in for their pit stops as they go side by side through the chicane, but Norris, he'll take the lead of the Grand Prix on the exit there, and we're now tucked right up back behind Pierre Gasly, so we're making up a little bit of time here, and we are definitely feeling much more comfortable on these hard compound tyres as we pass our objective, but no matter how good I feel on these tyres, our straight line speed is definitely a worry at the moment, as we're not going to lose just the 1 position, we're possibly going to lose another to Valtteri Bottas, but he launches it, both front wheels off the ground on the sausage curb, which kind of helps us out a bit. Now, Perez, he is looking to get himself past the other Sauber, so one Sauber in the points, the other one down the order, battling with myself for P13, and so Perez, he'll go around the outside, give him the inside. He doesn't hit the sausage curb this time around, and so he'll get a good exit here, and hopefully he'll stay P4 ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, but he won't have the DRS. Tsunoda will have the DRS. He looks to the inside, and Tsunoda's going to get that position back and go back into position 4 on the road. Back to ourselves here, and we've got the DRS. We need to achieve a position of P11. Mark reckons that is very much doable. He wants me to do it in 4 laps time, and so we go defensive. We don't want to lose a position if we're trying to be making up some positions here, and so we go defensive. We get that position done, but we have a big tank slapper on the exit, so luckily we were still able to defend that position, but that AstroTurf is quite slippery, but we lock up. We've made a massive mistake. We lose the position to Bottas, and we're now under attack from Albon. We're still struggling with the rears on the exit here, so you can see there on my steering wheel, my rears are over 100 degrees Celsius, so they're definitely starting to get into the overheating range, as Perez is trying to take another crack here at Yuki Tsunoda. He'll do it once again around the outside, going into the chicane to give him the inside. This time, again, not hitting that sausage curb. He has learned his lesson from earlier on in the Grand Prix. Yuki Tsunoda, though, he looks like he could be in a bit of trouble here, and he does exactly what I just did. Locks up the front. He'll lose a position to Charles Leclerc, and he is now down to P6. So has this Sauber maybe already used up its tyre life here, because he just seems to be slowing down and not on the pace. He'll go down the inside though, because he's got the DRS. He won't be able to make the move stick, as Leclerc has got the better racing line, and so Leclerc will keep the position. Back to ourselves. We're now trying to chase down P13 here, but we have failed our objective. We're just running out of time to try and get Pierre Gasly, who currently holds that P11, and that mistake proving costly. Leclerc, they've pulled away from Yuki Tsunoda, so Tsunoda definitely the bottleneck in that field. He'll go to the inside of Sergio Perez. This is for P4, and was that a little bit of contact there maybe? There was a bit of a jerk of the steering wheel there from Charles Leclerc, but he'll keep the position. Our teammate Ricciardo, he's now looking to get himself ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, but he'll have to make sure he doesn't get re-attacked down the straight with the DRS. Tsunoda looks to the outside. He is ignoring the overheating tyres that he possibly has, as he is just so slow compared to Leclerc and Perez, who was just with him just the other lap, and our teammate will go around the outside and keep the position, and that is him now up into P6 for ourselves. Our tyres, on the other hand, they're coming into a bit of life here, and we're finding so much more pace now as the Grand Prix goes on, and we're kind of in a bit of a groove here. As we look down the inside of the final corner, Bottas tries to squeeze us. We give him a little nudge and move him out the way, and that is now us up into P13. We can try and chase these two Alpines going onto the final lap of the Grand Prix. We've got a battle for the lead. Last race of the season, last lap of the season, and our last battle for the win. Alonso to the outside, Norris on the inside. This isn't for any sort of championship positions, but it is still a battle to the end, a battle of the ages, and Fernando Alonso looks to the inside. Norris somehow managed to hold it on the outside. He'll give him the inside underneath the hotel, and he will hold on to P1 just for now. Is there any sort of dive bomb coming from Fernando Alonso into the final corner? Is he going to be able to make a move? No, he can't. He's too far back. And so Lando Norris, he'll round the final corner and take victory here in Abu Dhabi, and that is going to be him with another race win to his name. On board with ourselves, we've got a last lap dash of the ages as well. We defend from Bottas. There's the two Alpines slowing each other up. They're going side by side down this straight. Could we try and fabricate anything here on the Alpines? We're using all of the ERS available to us. We send it down the inside of Gasly. We send it down the inside of Ocon as well. And we get the 2-for-1 deal at the end of the straight here. And that is us now up into P11. As now, in this final sector, we can reflect on the season we've had. We've had race wins. We've had pole positions. We were looking very good for a top 5 finish in the championship. At one stage, we were P3 in the championship. But unfortunately, the second half of the season hasn't gone our way. We've still had decent results here and there, but we'll finish the season with a good battle. It wasn't points, but we'll take a P11 from wherever we started at the back. I'm just lost for words of the season.
Here's the checkered flag, and our winner has landoed. It's Lando Norris for victory. And look at that, they're making their way out onto the podium now. Great race from the McLaren team, and I'm very happy to see them there on that top step of the podium.
What an ending to the season. Last lap battle for the win, down to the very last corner. It was absolute cinema, and it would just be even cooler if that was for the World Championship as well. But Lando Norris will take another victory this season with his teammate Piastri up on the podium. I haven't seen Piastri on the podium in a very long time with Fernando Alonso, and it was a disappointing race from myself down in P11 there. And we'll take a look here at the championship standings at the end of the season now. So Verstappen is now officially a 4-time world champion, 38 points clear of Lando Norris. Leclerc secures P3, myself in P7, unfortunately falling short of our battle with Sergio Perez. Ricciardo ends up P15 on equal points with Pierre Gasly. Red Bull are also the world champions once again by 72 points ahead of McLaren. Then you've got Ferrari in third, and RB, we found ourselves P6 in the way. As I said, we fell away in the last few rounds there, and we're also going to end our season leading our rivalry against George Russell. We just need to get to 93 rated to win that one. And for our driver ratings, our experience, racecraft, awareness, pace, they all gain points, and our focus unfortunately does lose some points, but we still have an overall of 92 rated, and our driver recognition, despite the struggles that we've had in these last few races, remains at 63% against Daniel Ricciardo.
It seems as if you have a new rival. This is the perfect opportunity to show the world why you belong in this sport, and to show me why you belong amongst my very exclusive clientele. That's a joke. I love working with you.
Well, that is going to be all for this season. For the next episode, we will start season 3. We'll go into our contract negotiations and see what is on the table. But again, that is going to be for the next episode. So if you did enjoy this, please make sure to like and subscribe. And I'll see you for the next episode where we start season 3 of this driver career mode. I'll see you then.